la 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 la.
En ek wonder of daar mense is wat die show gaan kyk vanaand.
Ek weet daar gaan mense wees, dude.
Jy sit al klaar voor TV en wag vir jou. Ja. Is dit
Ons is
live of is
hierso.
dit nou nie live nie?
Dis live, ons nou mense.
Nee man, hulle kyk fucking MacGyver en Airwolf en daai kak.
Yes, dis shit.
Hoor jy, het jy vir my grappie?
Ja, hey, what?
Ja.
I was wondering why the ball kept getting bigger and bigger, and then it hit me.
Hey Chris.
Yes, what?
How do you make a tissue dance?
I don't know.
You put a little boogie in it.
Oh,
Fuck.
shit, man.
Ja.
I'm trying to find the great one. Yeah, this.
Hey Chris.
Yes, what?
Why did the math book look so sad?
I don't know.
Because of all its problems.
Oh my God. Hey, what?
Ja.
If money doesn't grow on trees, how come banks have branches?
Ja. Hoor jy, dink jy ons moet live gaan?
Ja, kom ons gaan live doen.
Moet ons die show begin?
Ja, kom ons begin die show.
Ek weet nie. Kom ons doen dit maar. Die mense
Kop,
love ons. Here we go.
Go back. Feeling blue and you run.
This is the cinema. Have some respect.
Just remember, you're not alone. I know these two guys that are home alone. Two guys with the greatest guess.
You again.
Entertainment at its best. Grab your coffee, grab your dress. It's the white tea and Christian. It's a
Yes, everybody, welcome to another edition of SA Bros. Chris, wat sê jy,
Oei,
bro?
maar se kinders, ja, dude, lekker ou. Ek het 'n leidag gehad. Dit is te bloody koud om enigiets te wil doen.
Hoe is dit lei, bro? Dit was fucking lekker. Oeh, jy het aflike klaar en ons 30 minute. Dit was 'n kaklekker warm dag gewees, bro.
Dit was lekker warm, ou. Ek moet sê, buite was dit lekker.
Dit
Ja,
was.
maar jy's ook jy ek weet jy het 'n inner coat.
Ja, dis kol dikvellige plompie vet. Dis wat jy
Jy's
doen.
ja, jy's soos 'n siel.
Ja, jy sing. Of jy seel nie een van daai beach walruses of beach
A
wat
walrus.
sea elephant. 'n Sea
Ja.
elephant.
'n Sea elephant, straight up, dude.
Yes,
Yes.
Nou kom ons sê gou hallo vir die mense. Pamela, oom Dani, Nikki, Andre Kloete, Mr Cooper, Takbok, Rudy van der Ligt. Janne, mense, julle is
En Nikki, away, maar se kinders. Guys, vanaand se lekker een, dude. Ons gaan 'n bietjie net vir 'n laaste keer voor Women's Month gaan ons 'n bietjie net met boys praat wat 'n bietjie kan bliksem. Sorry.
Ja,
hulle sê dit op Afrikaanse radio. Jy kan dit gebruik.
Ja, bliksem is fine want bliksem is
Ja.
weerlig strale en sulke goeders.
Ja.
So tonight we've got our first of two boxers in the week. Tonight we've got the Warrior Joubert on.
Yeah.
And he's ready and waiting to chat to you guys.
Yes.
Claudia, Andre Pereira, goeienaand almal. Let's bring
Goeie.
Mr. Warren the Warrior Joubert in. What's up,
Hello,
brother? How you doing?
How's it, Warren?
How's it, gentlemen? How you doing?
How you doing?
Good
and yourself. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for taking some time out, man. What have you been doing this lockdown, bro? How have you been staying fit?
Just keeping fit. I've got my own setup in my garage. I've got a bag. I've got some kettlebells, and kettlebells, a barbell, and just doing different functional type stuff. Normal training like I would do with boxing. Just keeping ticking, keeping fit, keep sweating, you know.
But you must
Healthy
be
body, healthy
missing.
mind.
You must be missing being in the actual ring, donering somebody. Am I right?
Yeah, well, I'm retired now, so I don't get to do that anymore anyway. I retired 2 years ago in 2018, so no more of that anymore. Just a little bit of sparring every now and then if I can, but no fighting anymore.
And
That's
you told
good,
me
man.
that you're also training people. Is it just
Yes.
health cardio training, or is it boxing training?
No, so boxing, the functional type training. If people want to do weight training to pick up size, I try cater for people's needs. So I do the personal training as well. But most guys that want to come to me, obviously because I have the boxing expertise, they want to come to me for boxing. So I try to throw that in, and along with like a boxer would train, I throw in a lot of the functional type stuff. Exactly how we would train as a fighter. People have to understand that you don't just do boxing training all the time. There's a lot of other stuff that goes into it as well.
Now, Warren, where are you based?
So I'm in Meyersdal in the south of Johannesburg.
Okay.
So the gym, before the lockdown, I was actually looking for some premises. I have quite a large Jewish and Greek client base. So I'm actually looking at starting my gym in the northeastern suburbs of Joburg. So Linksfield, Glen Hazel. I'm not Glen Hazel. Linksfield, Senderwood, one of those areas.
Okay. All right.
You know what? Because I'm just thinking, most guys I know would love to just do the functional boxing stuff like that training. It's perfect if you really want to just lose weight, or if you want to gain size and real power. That's phenomenal training, man. And you know what? Obviously, we'll get your number and we'll put it up so guys can actually get to contact you.
Thanks.
And maybe
appreciate it.
Yeah, man, and maybe sort you out after this lockdown, or as soon as they can go train. Then you guys can get trained by some of the best guys in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We've got our first question here from Dylan Lange. He's like, Warren, who was your toughest fight in your career?
So definitely my toughest fight was definitely against Josh Taylor in Scotland. So Josh is currently the IBF and WBA world champion. Very, very tough fight. So I fought him for the British Commonwealth title back in 2017. At the time, Josh was only 8-0. At the moment, I think his record's sitting at 16-0 with about I think it's about 13 stoppages. So the boy can fight. Probably the best in the world. Is the best in the world.
Yeah, man. How long? It was 6 rounds. You lost it with him, huh?
Yes, I went 6 rounds with Josh Taylor. He caught me a massive overhand left.
Yeah.
And anybody who knows me knows that I've got heart. I'm never one of those guys that's going to go down and take a knee. But it just caught me square on the button. And Colin, my trainer, chucked in the towel, and they stopped the fight.
Yeah.
Dude,
but I was a little bit upset with Colin at the time. I was like, hey, Cole, but you can't do that. He said to me, he says, you're not only my fighter, he says, but you happen to be my friend. Yeah. He says, and I've got to make sure that there's life after boxing. He says,
exactly, man.
Injured seriously in the ring. I said, no, cool. I understand that. I respect that.
Yeah, once, dude. I think a lot of the younger guys will never understand that. Like you say, that hard when you know you've been knocked.
Yeah, it happens. It happens to the best in the world. I mean,
absolutely,
there's very few guys like Rocky Marciano that retired with an unbeaten record. Floyd Mayweather, but I mean those guys are few and far between. But most guys, it's just part of the game. We win some, we lose some.
Exactly. Yeah. Now your buddy Andre is asking you a question. Was that you fight Chris van Heerden? I know Chris is watching somewhere.
Chris is a heavyweight, man.
Myself and Chris were in different weights. Chris was always been heavier than me. Yeah. I started out my career as a junior lightweight. Eventually stepped up to lightweights and finished my career as a junior welterweight. Chris has always been a welterweight, so he's a substantial amount heavier than me. Well, eventually when I reached junior welter, then obviously it was only one weight division. But that was towards the end of my career that I fought as a junior welter. Prior to that was junior lightweight and lightweight.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now, Andre also, while I'm looking, because Andre sent me a very cool photo that where you and Chris were next to Mike Tyson. But while I'm looking for it, Andre asked, he asked that I asked you what happened with the story with the rugby player at Rao University, which is now... I don't know. Fuck. He said, I don't know. He just said tell him Rao, which is what's the university called now?
Randolph
University,
University
University.
but it's now UJ, University of
Yes,
Joubert.
UJ, UJ.
That's it. He's like, you must tell me the story about what happened there with the rugby player. Now,
So I think the story is referring to is we happened to be at a party in Featherbrook Estates at
goodness.
a friend of ours that was in Boston with us happened to be her birthday, and these guys were having a party and they made trouble with us, and Andre made a joke. They swore, said your moss or whatever. And Andre made a joke and he said, your moss, it was fun. It was all joking. He said, no, your moss pass a Milky Bar. And then we had a good laugh about it, and we walked away and we were just having fun. Next minute, these oaks gripped us, and we had about 6-7 oaks surrounding us. And myself and Andre were the only oaks that actually stood up to these guys. But anyway, at the end of the day, these guys came short. It's not something that we want to brag about. I mean, you don't want to be a boxer so that you get involved in this nonsense. Exactly. But they started with us and they came off second best.
No. Well, there you go. That's what happens if you think you're a Rambo and everything, and you take on boxers. Because Andre and myself have played around a bit. When I say played around a bit, I mean just tapping each other like sparring. And I know when that man hits, he's gonna hit hard, and it's gonna be painful for me.
Listen. He's a tough bugger for one, and then secondly also, I mean, I remember when I boxed for Nick Durant, so Nick was my first professional trainer, and I remember Nick saying to me, Nick always called me Jubes, obviously because of my surname. He said, Jubesy, my boy. He says, there's two things that you can't put in a fighter, my boy. He says, and that's a heart and a chin. You either got it, you can either take a crack or you can't, and you either got it a heart or you don't. You can't teach heart. And that's one thing with Andre. He's a crazy bugger. He's got a heart of a lion.
He's got the heart, man. Absolutely. That's no lie.
Now, listen, I've got this picture here, and I think it's an absolutely brilliant picture here. There you are. And there's Chris, Mike, and who's this?
Jacques Stapelberg. So Jacques was an amateur with myself. We were all Boyson's amateurs. Yeah. Myself, Jacques, and Chris all boxed for Boyson's Boxing Club. And Boyson's Boxing Club was probably one of, if not still, the most prestigious amateur boxing club in the country. Absolutely. Where we've achieved a lot of accolades and champions that have been produced in that gym. So best amateur boxing club in the country without a doubt.
Awesome.
There's just something in the water there in the South, because the South's producing hot boxers since the beginning of time.
Championship boxers,
Yeah, dude, it's serious, brilliant boxers come out of there. Like, I'm an Eastern boy, now I'm here in the West, but the South has always been consistent.
Yeah, listen, I think there's a lot of strong fighters that come from South. I think also many years ago, I think things have changed, and the dynamic of things have changed slightly nowadays. Obviously, there's some more prestigious areas in the South, but I think many years ago, the South was more of a rougher area. Yeah, so I think that a lot of the guys that came out of the South that got into boxing and achieved things, it was a lifeline for them. Exactly like it. I mean, you notice with the like I said, the dynamic of things is changing in our country as well. But many years ago, boxing was also a very black-dominated sport.
Absolutely,
because of the fact that boxing is a poorer sport. You don't find rich guys involved in boxing. So it lands up being a lifeline for guys, and guys find a better way to achieve a better life for themselves. And they get involved in the sports. And I think that's why many years ago you've had so many good fighters coming from the South. But like I say, I think the dynamic of things has changed a lot.
One time, man. Dude, one thing I do remember is South African fighters, there's 3 different guys in the world that I think are the toughest oaks on this planet. It's South Africans, Mexicans, and Russian oaks. I've seen Mexicans be knocked out on their feet, but they're still in the fight. Somehow they come back.
I think the Mexicans, but once again, I mean, obviously it's a very poverty-stricken country. I think that's why boxing is their national sport. Yeah. And you find guys that they've come up, I mean, from these ghettos, and they come up, and obviously for them, if they can achieve something in boxing, they can obviously provide a far better life for themselves and their families. So I think, in that sense, that's why you have so many tough fighters coming out of Mexico. And I think any country in general where you have some sort of poverty, obviously it hardens guys. I mean, you're not
Absolutely, man.
I say this with respect, but
Yes.
chances of you finding a fighter coming out of Morningside Santon and getting involved in boxing, yes, you may be. There are the exceptions in anything in life, but I think the chances are slim to none.
Yeah, it's the only guys you get from there, and again with respect, is boot fighters.
Exactly.
That's brilliant. Dude, have you ever seen that shit, that game?
Yeah, it's a proper laugh.
My boot, I'll murder you, my boot.
Yeah, it's a proper laugh.
Me and my brother Muri.
All the oaks from four ways. That's where the boot fighters come from.
Yeah, that I can bliksem anybody. That's the attitude. And until they can't bliksem you, and then the ninja swords comes out.
Yeah, like those videos that were circulating.
That's exactly. That's exactly what I was referring to.
Get angry, I'm gonna climb in my BMW boot. I'm gonna crash you. It's funny.
Yeah,
exactly.
Now, listen, I don't know if you saw this meme that went around yesterday. It circulated. Warren and Chris. It's Colin McGregor with
Ibn Itzebeth.
Yeah, I did check
his boots.
Now, I love what it says here. Springbok, Ibn Itzebeth, and Conor McGregor. That explains well the difference between a left jab and a club.
The big guy booty, straight.
Exactly.
Look, you see
Welcome
the
to
fist.
South Africa.
No, listen. That axe hand's gonna wrap around your head.
Dude.
Never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind across your face. It's gonna wrap around your head.
Now, you see, because they say it doesn't matter your size, but
No,
if you are trained, and you look like Ibn Itzebeth and you Conor McGregor, and I don't care what anybody says, if Conor knocks Ibn, I think all that's going to happen is you're going to piss
It's going to make him
off.
angry. Yeah, he's going to get mad.
It's going to be like a bear.
So something I've always said. Size only counts if you know how to use it.
Correct.
So that's the difference. So you can't take a small good fighter and put him in against a big good fighter, because the big good fighter is always going to win.
Will win, 100%.
So you can't. It's like trying to compare like a fighter like Conor McGregor against a guy like John Jones.
Or even Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather is a champion featherweight, but Tyson will kill him.
100%. Yeah,
I think so too.
I mean, if you know how to use the size does count.
Absolutely, man.
And it always does. Yeah. So.
Warren, who's your favorite international heavyweight boxer at the moment? And your favorite boxers? All weight divisions, man.
Not in terms of his skill, but the way he is as a person. I quite like Tyson Fury's style.
Yes, there you go.
I like who he is as a person. He's very laid back. I mean, he's I think it was his second last fight. He donated his so it was the first. Sorry, it wasn't the second last fight. It was his first fight with Deontay Wilder, where he donated his whole purse to charity.
Yeah,
so you've got to. I mean, listen, I'm sure the blokes made a lot of money in the sport.
Yeah.
Sure, fair enough. But he's also worked very hard for it. So he's worked hard to get where he is, and he took his whole purse. I mean, you can only imagine what guys like that are earning. I mean, obviously, $15 million and up at least.
Yeah, man.
Least. So and he donated his whole purse to charity. So you got to respect the man for that. But in terms of boxing skill, there's a fighter, Ukrainian fighter. So him and Vasily Lomachenko. I don't know if you guys have heard of Vasily Lomachenko.
Yes.
So Vasily Lomachenko and he was a former cruiserweight, Alexander Usyk, were in the Ukrainian Olympic boxing team together, and they both obviously excelled in the professional ranks as well. And Usyk has just gone up to heavyweights, and he will be making his heavyweight debut soon. So I see him cleaning up the heavyweight division.
I think Tyson so too, man.
Deontay Wilder, all of them are going to get a big outing.
Yeah.
I'm
behind you with that.
So I'd have to say in the heavyweights, I like to say he hasn't actually had his his heavyweight debut, but I see Usyk cleaning them up in the heavies.
Brilliant. Now listen, let's get back to our audience. They've been asking questions, and you and me have been just going well. We've got Nelson Miguel Raminos. He's asking, brother, if you could relive one memory in your boxing career, which memory would it be?
So the other night I did an interview on SA Boxing Talk, and I think one of the most memorable moments for me. I won the SA title against a guy by the name of Lungisi Jikani.
Yeah.
And what happened is I landed up fighting, defending against a guy by the name of Grant Ferry. I don't know if you guys know who Grant Ferry is. So his uncle was the great Periphery.
Yeah.
I mean, Periphery excelled exception in their professional ranks.
Yeah.
So anyway, I lost the SA titles, Grant Ferry. And what happened is I'll end up getting a rematch against Grant for the SA title as well as the WBA Pan Africa title. So the first fight was a tough fight. It was close, but Grant beat me fair and square. And the second fight's also, once again, close fight, tough rule. And I think that's what made the victory that much sweeter, is that it was a tough rule. And, like they say, the greater the sacrifice, the greater the reward. And I just felt for that reason, it was probably one of my sweetest victories that I had. Not only to win the SA title back, but the SA title alongside the WBA Pan Africa title.
That's awesome, man.
Nice.
So
Respect,
that was probably one of the best moments I've had. And then also I think I maybe second to that, which was I lost, but it was a hell of an experience fighting Josh Taylor in Scotland, and losing up, sharing the ring with currently the best in the world in the junior welterweight division.
Yeah, dude. There's not a lot of guys that can say that. That's shine, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you.
Man.
So Warren, besides the personal training and the boxing and so on, is there anything else that you are busy with? Any other projects?
No, nothing really. Like I said, what I am looking for is I'm looking for my own premises so I can start training fighters. I had one guy that I trained, a youngster that came to me the end of last year. Yeah. And a very good youngster. He actually happens to be a friend of mine, youngster Julian Cook. And he had only had one professional fight. And he said to me, listen, I've had a fallout with my trainer. So the gym that I was working at is more of an executive type gym, personal training type gym. Yeah. Not necessarily a boxing gym. And he said to me, listen, can you help me? So I said, okay, cool. Let's make a plan. I said, I don't have my own premises yet. I said, but we'll work around it. And I actually ended up taking him for his first fight. And boxing is my passion. Yes, being a personal trainer, I work with a lot of top executives. That definitely pays the bills. Yeah. But my passion is boxing. So my obviously what I'm working on the hardest at the moment is finding my own premises so I can get my own gym going so I can train my fighters. And that for me is my passion. All the knowledge that I've built up over these years, being in the game. I mean, I started as an amateur at 13 years old. I retired as a professional at 37 years old. So it's time to pass the torch now. Eventually, like I've said this the other night as well, a person has to know when to say enough's enough, which absolutely, I did. Man. And thank God, I got other sports uninjured. And it's now time to pass the torch and start passing on that knowledge to my young fighters. And for me, I think that would be one of the things that where I would find out I achieved most in my life.
Yeah, great stuff. Now Warren is saying, sorry man, my Wi-Fi my cock. Sê vir Warren ek sê hallo asseblief gents. So
I think Warwick. How you Warwick? You well?
So that's great. Let's just check. I want to see what other questions the people are asking. Chris, jy daar iets daarso?
Nee, jy's op 'n rol hier so dit ek admire jou vanaand. Jy's op jou stukke.
So listen, Warren, it's I can't see a question, but it must be with this whole lockdown nonsense. It must be really difficult for you to get. I know you want to go Linksfield, Houghton, and those areas and so on.
Yes.
Is there? Have you got the potential place yet, so that we can just tell the people, yes, it's going to be soon, or what? Because I know gyms can't open just yet.
Yes. So there is a gym that I'm looking at in Linksfield, right? Well, not Linksfield. It's more Senderwood, right near Saheti School. So there's a space that I'm looking at there. But that for now would probably still be more of a personal training type gym. And I'm looking to, like I say, I'm still looking for my own premises so I can get the boxing gym going. But in the interim, I am going to be in that area, and I will be training my personal clients from there.
Once. Well, you know what? Clute asked another question here, man. He says, brother, what's happening with Tyson? What's the big story with him not following through? Is there a fight still scheduled? Do you know? Do you have any backstories on that?
Well, I'm not 100% certain. I know that he was looking to fight, and I think I personally think it's stupid. You know what? The problem is, some of these guys they literally get too addicted to the fame and the fortune. Yeah. So what happens if they squander all this cash that they've built up? I mean, I can only imagine a guy like Mike Tyson must have made massive money over his boxing career, but squandered that cash because they think that their money's not going to run out. That's where I've got to give Floyd Mayweather respect, is that he's very sharp and he's got smart investments, and I think he's been very clever with his money. Well, not necessarily him, but he's got a good management team around him that's helped him look after his money.
That management team is the best in the world.
Yes,
absolutely.
I think what's happened with Mike Tyson, I think it may be a financial thing, firstly.
Yeah.
Secondly, I think these guys become too addicted to the fame, the rush, and none of us beat Father Time. You know, eventually age catches up with all of us, and a person needs to be smart enough to know when to say enough's enough. And especially at him at his age. I mean, Mike Tyson must be what? He's in his early to mid 50s.
Yeah,
so,
late 50s. Yeah.
You know, so you get caught a big shot at that age, wanting to get in the ring and have a fight. Get caught a big shot, and I'm just saying, anything can happen. We never know.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting there to hurt each other. That's the name of the game. That's why guys have to be smart enough to know when to call it a day. It's not like I mean, you're not going out there. And I say this with respect, to play tennis or cricket with each other. I mean, you're having a fight. You're out to have a fight. So it would be very stupid of him to do that. And I think, like I say, either he's chasing money or he's chasing the fame again. And either way, it's stupid.
I think in Tyson's own words, he said, everybody has a plan until they get hit in the face.
Yeah, sure. Well, you know
in
what?
his own words, it's going to backfire.
Maybe you should take a leaf out of his own book. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
God forbid, I gets hurt, and then what? And then what's life after that? You know,
you don't want to be a vegetable.
No. Exactly. No. And it happens. I mean, I think it was it was last year. It was last year that there was a young South American fighter that lost his life with bleeding on the brain, and then a young Russian boy that was fighting out of the States. Same thing, landed up with bleeding on the brain and passed at a young age. I think the Argentinian dude, the South American, I think he had he was a little bit younger, but the had like 2 kids. And I mean, we don't know. It's a tough sport. So if that can happen to younger guys, how much more at risk are you when you become older? And that's why a person has to be smart enough. You have to make a conscious decision to say, hey, well, you know what?
It's a life decision at that age.
I've had my turn. It was my time, and enough's enough, you know?
Yeah.
No, it's because it's I've said it a few times in the past and on the shows. Youngsters are made out of rubber and magic. They can get hit with a flipping bulldozer and they'll get on and go on. Where if Mike Tyson gets hit with a flipping one of those pool noodles, he might break apart because he's a topic and everything becomes soft and pudding.
Sure. Well, that's exactly it. You become a lot more susceptible to being hurt when you're older.
Exactly.
It's just part of our physiology. Our bodies don't produce as much growth hormone. Our bodies don't produce as much testosterone. We don't recover as quickly. So we're prone to getting hurt that much quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Dylan Lange asked, Warren, would you rather take a shot with an 8-ounce or a 4-ounce glove?
Okay, so to put that into perspective, I can kind of see where Dylan's going with this. So basically what he's asking me is, would I get hit with an MMA mitt or a boxing glove?
Yeah, I know exactly what he's saying.
Listen, I definitely, anybody's going to answer you, I definitely would rather get hit with the 8-ounce glove. But the difference is, I think, and this is the thing which they've proven, they've had a look at MMA and boxing, they've compared the two. The problem is, because of the succession of punches and continuous punches, and you get caught. With boxing, the cuts, lacerations and stuff don't show as bad. It doesn't look as bad. But obviously with those repetitive blows, there ends up being a lot more brain damage in boxing. So definitely, obviously a rather 8-ounce glove. But if you've been hit repetitive blows, either way, you're gonna land up with being a little bit of a vegetable.
Absolutely.
So
Well,
either or, 8 ounce. I mean, listen, 8 ounce is small enough. I mean, that's what I used to fight with was eights when I was starting out junior lightweight all the way through to junior welter, and yeah, eight hurts enough. So if you get to hit a succession of punches with the 4 ounce glove, it's really going to hurt you.
yeah. Yeah, Monique McConnell, she says, yeah, not worth it. You know when to leave us. As you said, pass the torch on, man. You can find us just as much passion helping the younger guys out there.
100%. So this is in an interview the other night when I was interviewed, I said, you know what, it's time to pass the torch. You know, you've built up all this knowledge over all these years. It's time. You know, boxing for me personally, boxing kept me away from all the rubbish and nonsense in the streets. I think sport in general does for the youngsters, keeps you away from all the rubbish. But the problem, the problem is a lot of guys don't know when to say enough's enough. We got to know when to leave it, and now it's time. You know what? Give back to the sport. The sport did so much for you. It's your turn to give back now.
Got you. Now, Dani is asking here. Boysons used to be the boxing mecca of the South. Did you ever meet Hacky Butler and Sean Potgieter? They were both friends with Grant Fourie.
So I Sean, the name rings a bell, but no, I boxed with Hacky for many years. So Hacky was actually just below me in the amateur ranks, and Hacky's gone on to achieve more, I think, than any South African, or most, not any, than most South African fighters have achieved. I mean, if you put it into perspective, many Hacky Butler being a super champion, you have to take into account that Hacky is on the same level as fighters like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather.
Absolutely, man.
So big ups to Hacky. So yes, no, I know Hacky very, very well. We were in the amateur ranks together, and then obviously when I finished my career with Colin Nathan, and we actually ended up being in the same gym together for my last years as a boxer.
Awesome, man. Yeah, Claudia Klute asked, hi, Warren, have you got any long-lasting injuries from your career, man?
No, I broke my ankle once, but that doesn't bother me. I broke the lateral malleolus in a fight. I went over. I was wearing a really short cut pair of boots, and they looked cool. They looked cool. They looked the part. Just shows you when you're young and stupid. Yeah. And I went over on the ankle, but obviously functionally it doesn't protect the ankle. So I went over on the ankle and I broke the lateral malleolus. But luckily, I got into rehabilitation there quite quickly after the fight. I went to a good orthopedic surgeon. And he had me, the guy literally, I went for 2 weeks after the operation. He said, okay, in the next 2 weeks, you must start cycling with your moon boots on. Got into it quickly, so so your tendons, your ligaments and stuff don't shorten up. So it kept cool. The only thing, you can see, I wasn't born with a nose like this. So the only thing, so I've had a couple of people like my older brother, even like, no, man, you must go get it fixed. I said, listen, I've lived with this for so many years. It's not like I'm a model. You know, I breathe okay. So, you know, I think that's pretty much the only really bad, the worst looking thing is my nose. But other than that, no serious injuries.
Makes up with the bod, dude. You got that boxing bod, bro. Chicks love that more. Trust me.
I just want to...
I promise I wasn't born this way. I was punched this way.
Punched, donor, whatever. Now, I just want to quickly share a photo of one of South Africa's legends that I got to meet a while back the other day. Was Kali Knutse. And he was an absolute legend.
Yeah, that's a proper boss.
Look how big Whitey is.
And he could roll, eh?
Fuck, that's Kali. He was...
Yeah.
I saw Kali Muraks through their gloves. That's how hard he could hit. He knocked us out through their gloves. So.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yes. Well, do you think that...
Sorry. Yeah, but let's say Jason says congratulations on the wedding, champion.
Yeah. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it. Long time. I hope you're well.
Lekker. So, Chris, jy wou vra?
Ek was daar gesidetrack daar so. Jason het my heeltemal onvergevang.
Okay, sorry, well, he's ons Cooper. I would like to ask a question to Warren. If you could go in the ring with any legend boxer who is alive or
passed away.
Or passed away, who would it be?
Sure, that's a tough question.
I think that is a very tough one.
for obviously taking my weight and that into account, I think I'd probably have to say Julio Cesar Chavez. You know, I would probably get smashed from pillar to post, But at least you can say, like I said, when I fought Josh Taylor, at least you can say that you've shared the ring with a legend like that.
Yes,
Dude, I'm sure some of those legends. Do you think, like, I watched the thing about boxing that with scientific facts and stuff, how today's boxers are way more elite than those guys. But I don't think guys recognize the heart that those oaks had, and how they were made back then.
So I think boxing is the one sport. So I've had this argument in the past.
Yeah.
So I've said that that you look at most sports, you look at a guy like Usain Bolt, for instance, compared to a guy like Carl Lewis. Yeah. And yes, most sports or anything in life, things have evolved. Yes. But I think boxing would be the one sport where, yes, maybe in terms of athletic performance and fitness and stuff like that, yes, guys have got stronger. But you also have to take into account that many of those guys from the olden days, they worked manual labor and stuff like that in order to obviously put food on the table. Yeah. And then boxed, and then on top of it, I mean, I don't believe the pace was as fast as the fights today, but I mean, those guys those days, they fought round upon round. I mean, many years ago, I mean, the fights didn't stop until a fighter was knocked out. Then eventually, obviously with bare knuckle boxing, then eventually it got to a point where guys fought 15 rounds at a time. Do you know how tough it is to fight 12 rounds, let alone 15?
3 rounds, bro. 1 round, I'll put it, bring it,
and the old fighters did that. So yes, maybe the pace, and yes, from an athlete, in terms of athletic ability, yes, maybe guys have improved. In terms of the boxing science, I don't know so much. I mean, if you had to compare, if you had to compare a guy like Sugar Ray Leonard, let alone Sugar Ray Robinson, compare a guy like Sugar Ray Leonard to a guy like Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, Floyd Mayweather is going to lose 9 times out of 10.
Awesome.
Each to their own, and we'll never know. So I had this question posed to me the other night as well. How do you know? Everybody's different, so it's very difficult to take. Let's say comparing a guy like Mike Tyson, who would have won out of Mike Tyson and Ali? Yes, so you can weigh up their attributes, their strengths, and their weaknesses, but we'll never know. Unfortunately, that's life, and we were born in different eras, so we'll never know.
Exactly.
Well, Stephen Lowe asked, "What was your most memorable stoppage or TKO?"
So what happened is I actually fought. What was his name? All I remember, his nickname was Domestos, and apparently he was gonna clean me up. The oak's name is Strues Bob. I can't think of it now for the love of me. But
Domestos.
Domestos. I can't think of the guy's name now. All I can remember was that his nickname was Domestos. So anyway, so what happened is I fought the guy on a boxing down in I think it was in November the year prior, and I was still boxing for Nick Durant, and Nick Durant had actually gone to Thailand with one of our world champions. Yeah, and a guy by the name of Bernie Pellman actually took me in the corner. And what happened is I got cut in, I think it was the 3rd round or whatever. I had a really bad laceration on my eye. You could literally see the tissue on the inside. So they stopped the fights. I literally had to have plastic surgery to stitch the eye closed properly. Got a rematch against the guy the next year. And it happened to be on the Layla Ali undercard. Muhammad Ali's daughter came to South Africa. I don't know if any of you guys remember that. Yeah. So I was the only. Every single fight was a championship fight. I was the only undercard fighter. It was a 6-rounder that Nick organized. That I got a rematch against this guy on that bill. And after so what happened is they rule the fight because they've stopped the fight within 4 rounds. It goes to a ruling where they call it a technical draw. And the next fights I cleaned up Domestos in the first round. I knocked him out. I knocked him out in the first round. And it was really cool because he actually had a lot to say. He's like, he's gonna clean me up and stuff like that. He was actually quite arrogant. So it was quite nice to humble somebody like that.
When the gems attack back, Baba.
Exactly. They must know. Look at this coronavirus. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Warren, just to get back on the point that you made earlier, that it's not a rich man's sport. I had friends when I was a bouncer 20 years ago because of my size. I got money as a lighty to go bounce and so on. I had a mate of mine who was a boxer as well. He actually trains in New York. He trains people to box. He told me that there was people, I won't mention the area, but it was a poor area that start because they don't have, well, back then Segas or whatever you call it, PlayStation, what.
Yes,
They don't have toys, so they donor each other, and you start fighting from when you are 5-6 years old. So before you start boxing training, you've already got 10 years worth of street fighting, boxing, and so on.
Yeah, street fighting and boxing is two different
things.
But it's two different. No, but listen, if you know how to box in the ring, it makes it that much easier when you come up fighting against a day-to-day guy that works a 9 to 5 in the street. That's easy. So as far as I'm concerned, any boxer that goes into the street, as far as I'm concerned, it's the guys that can't cut it in the boxing ring that land up going into the streets and murdering innocent people in the streets. Because you know what?
But what I mean is, he was as a lighty, as a 6-year-old, fighting with his friends until he becomes a professional boxer. That's what I mean. So he starts training as a boxer when he's maybe 15. He's already got 10 years worth of training in the street because of
like Tyson,
the circumstances.
I think it's also circumstances, and I think just a tough life. I think the driving factor is not so much that they've had the fights they've had, because if anything, sometimes people think that stuff might toughen you up. I tend to disagree. I think that sort of stuff, getting to fights and getting hit all the time, in the long run, that sort of stuff's actually going to end up breaking you down. That's my personal outlook. It might make you a little bit tougher, but in the long run, it's not going to build your confidence. I think the main motivating factor is the fact that these guys have nothing. So because they don't have an education, so boxing is a lifeline. So in order to make a better life for their families, I think that would be the biggest motivating factor, is that guys want to live a better life or provide a better life for their families, and that's why they work as hard as they do in order to get themselves out of the poverty-stricken lifestyle that they've been accustomed to.
Yes, man.
Wow, well, thank you. That was a nice eye-opener for me, because that was the whole perception that I had, that if you had that years as a child training to get knocked out or boxing and so on, that would help you in your career. But I actually like the way you explained it. It makes sense to me.
So. I think, like I said, I think from a psychological perspective, that sort of stuff's actually going to land up breaking you down as opposed to building you up.
Got you. Okay, we've got Monique McConnell here asking, what was the reason you decided to start boxing at 13? And for the really young guys, what would you say to them to encourage their boxing journey?
So what happened is my Monique would know this, because my father and her father are best mates, or my mom was best mates. My father's passed away, but my dad was a professional footballer. My dad, which was quite odd for Afrikaans. So my dad, my dad was actually Afrikaans. So quite odd for I was brought up English, but quite odd for Afrikaans folks in that day. My uncle Henny actually captained a football side, Highlands Park, and then my dad paid for Highlands. So my dad and my uncle were actually both professional footballers. And I used to play soccer at Robertsham Callies Football Club, and the Boysons Boxing Club was down the road. So when I was a lot young, up until now, I'm not a big oak, but when I was young, I was a small guy. So I think boxing initially started as more of a self-defense thing. And I went down to the boxing club, flipping, only to fall in love with the sport, fall in love with the boxing people. The boxing people are the best people you'll ever come across in your life.
Totally
you know what? These are my people. And it wasn't long, and they were like, my amateur coach, Nicky Ness, said to my father, oh, no, we got to fight from this weekend. Oh, no fights. We're going away. No, we got to fight for him this weekend. Oh, no, he's been sick. He can't fight. So to put into perspective, from 13 up until 18, I only had 10 amateur fights. Then once I turned 18, my father said, okay, well, now it's your decision. From 18 to 23, before I turned pro, I had another 30 amateur fights. And then I realized I had some sort of boxing ability, and then I decided to turn pro.
Warren, do you think South Africa's losing a lot of oaks to MMA at the moment, or is it just MMA in total that's growing so big that it's not as big as boxing yet, but it's getting damn close now?
On the international level. So Dana White's doing a very good job with the UFC.
Oh, yeah.
On the local level, not so much. You have guys like Boyd Allen. So Boyd actually came from an amateur boxing background, got involved in amateur MMA, and then decided to turn pro with the EFC. Boyd has actually left the EFC and actually come back to be a professional boxer. So I think on the local level, I think boxing is a substantial amount
Still
bigger than
king,
MMA. Still a substantial amount bigger than MMA. On the international level, boxing, I mean, you just looking at that, a lot of the top fighters' purses in boxing, as opposed to a lot of the top fighters' purses in MMA, the boxers are still earning a substantial amount more.
Yeah,
Well, you can see that
nicely, man.
Well, you can see that
Yes,
with
the sport has grown. It has grown. It definitely, MMA has grown massively, but boxing's been around for many more years. Amateur MMA is still a far younger sport, so I think it'll take a substantial amount of time before MMA gets up to the level that boxing's on.
Well, that's case in point where McGregor and Mayweather, when they fought, Mayweather refused to fight for anything less than 100 million. Where Mayweather, I think, for that fight he got paid, was it 700 million?
That was about So Mayweather, I think Mayweather got about 300 odd. And then
but that was with the endorsements and everything else. But the actual just the fight,
100 odd. Yes.
300
you compare Mayweather and you compare McGregor, and Mayweather got a substantial amount more, probably about 4 or 5 times more.
And like you said earlier, Mayweather said he is very money conscious and everything. He's not just going to
be a businessman.
Because everybody's getting excited. Oh, McGregor versus Mayweather fight. He's not just going to jump in because everybody wants him to. He's going to say, no, China Bean, you pay me 100 million just for the fight, then I'll consider it.
Yeah.
Correct.
And they, with his crew, they've got marketing down so big that they created such a hype with that fight. I mean, him and McGregor actually traveled around and like badmouthed each other on sets and stuff. They knew exactly what was cracking, man.
It actually looked quite put on at a stage, to be honest with you. The stuff they were saying to each other, like, okay, like, you guys can stop acting now. This is not WWE. Just get in there and have a roll, actually.
It's Murmakar,
exactly.
Mentioning WWE, that's what I wanted to say a little bit earlier when you spoke about Tyson Fury. That's one of the main reasons I like Tyson Fury so much, because he's a character in his own. I don't know if you saw, before he had his fight, he's around 2 bout with Deontay Wilder. He went to the WWE to gain more popularity with the Americans. And because WD is enormous.
It's like NASCAR.
It's huge.
Yes,
And he scored. He actually had more American fans on his side for the fight than Deontay Wilder, who is an actual American.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And if you watch, he actually went in. I actually watched it just because he was in that WWE match. Well, not a match, but he had a thing with I forgot again his name, but a huge WWE man. His arms are the size of tree trunk. Yeah. And when they started fighting, Tyson is like so softly, but you can see, like, because he's not a trained WWE fighter, there's like 10 centimeters between his fist and the guy's face.
Yeah.
And everybody's going that, they're like sitting there, like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
But it brought him an extra maybe million followers from the USA.
Very smart. Smart business tactic, Smart business tactic.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Dude,
Braun Strowman, that's his name, the WWE wrestler.
Do you think South Africa's marketing guys will catch up to the guys in the States with the way that they market? Because it's like South African guys we've always had real brilliant, like, proper fighters, but our marketing guys have just like lacked in that division where those guys could have made so much more money.
Definitely, I do agree, and I think that they've been caught in a rut with a lot of the South African promoters. Have gone into a rut where things have worked a certain way for them for so many years.
Yeah.
But eventually, like I was saying earlier, everything evolves, and you have to stay up to date with the times. And I don't believe that we've done enough of that in South Africa.
Yeah.
Secondly, what I think is a massive factor where we're not growing as many fighters is not enough, and this is government's fault. I mean, this is sport in general in our country.
Yeah.
Not enough funding is going back into amateur sports, into rugby. Well, more into rugby, cricket, our biggest sports. But boxing used to be one of our strongest sports many years ago. I mean, we had produced some of the best fighters in the world.
When I was growing up, it was one of the sports you did, you know?
Correct. So nowadays, unfortunately, I mean, there's not much amateur boxing, and there's hardly tournaments. There's hardly championships. I mean, you hear of guys going to SA championships and catching a bar from the to the two semi-finals.
Yeah,
just unheard of. I mean, when we boxed back in the day, I mean, we would probably have about 3 or at least 4 fights before you made it to the finals. And there's just not enough competition in the sport. And I think that indirectly is going to land up affecting professional boxing in the long run, because we're not growing enough amateur boxers.
Yes.
Yeah. Now,
we've got to start from grassroots level. It doesn't help. We can't just take the cream of the crop, because eventually we're going to run out of fighters. So we've got to start growing the fighters up in the amateur ranks and building them for the professionals. And I think I blame government for that, where not enough funding is going into sport. And like I say, this is not only boxing, but all sports in South Africa.
Got you. 100%. I want to do a quick shout out. It looks like Nicky Ness is watching the show.
Well,
and
Niklas.
And Warwick, I'll definitely give him a call so we can have an interview with him. But Chris, look at this. Look at the time.
The time just flew, man. That's like an hour, just boof, gone.
Yeah.
Yes, man.
Just let me your number up here. There you go. Guys, actually, let me make it a bit better. Give me 1 second. There you go. Click daai knoppie, druk dit. Guys, there's Warren's number. Am I correct, Warren?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, 8397400060.
If you want
to get some training done, learn how to defend yourself, and also get fit, man.
Yeah, just keep fit, keep healthy.
Yeah, because I'm so thick now, dude. This lockdown's killed me. I definitely need to get into shape.
Perfect. So, well, when you're ready, pull in for a session.
I will, my brother. Thank you.
All right. So, Warren, thank you again for joining us tonight. It was great chatting to you. I know the fans and all our SA bros and broettes had an absolute joy having you on the show.
Absolutely.
Thank you for taking your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Have a good evening. Cheers, guys.
You
Cheers,
too, my brother. Cheers, man.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.
Wow.
Yes. Die shows raak net al korter en korter, hè?
Ek weet, ek love die fighters. En weet jy, ek wens, ek dink as jy nou 'n paar doppe saam met daai ou gaan drink, gaan jy nou die ander kak hoor wat die ou nooit van hoor nie.
Ja, toe Andrei vir ons vertel het van hom, nee, ja. Maar weet jy wat, ek dink, weet jy, Chris, ek dink jy sal weet, en ek weet, dat daar sekere aspekte van 'n mens wat ander mense uitdaag. In my geval is dit my size. So nou dink almal, omdat ek groot is, nou kan hy my aanvat. Op 'n tyd jare gelede het dit gereeld gebeur dat mense my wil aanvat en my wil rol. Nou kom daar ouetjies wat dink soos daar was 'n YouTuber. Ek weet nie wat sy naam nie.
Ek weet van wie jy praat, wat hy trash talk met die boksers en dan word hy gedoner, ou.
Hy het vir Deontay Wilder. Nou, weet jy wat? Deontay het verloor teen Tyson Fury, maar wie anders gaan vir Deontay Wilder bliksem?
Dit jy gaan hom nie kom vertel en hy so klein maar gehad hou.
En Deontay Wilder is 6'7", my vriend. Hy's so rapsie korter as ek. Tyson Fury is 6 voet. Nou hierdie laaitie, hy's seker fucking 6 voet. Nou dink hy kan vir Deontay Wilder kom aanvat. En nou kom hy swaai Deontay, okay, wap en hy bliksem hom grond toe. Hy so en nou
kom staan op.
En toe staan hy op. Ja, jy weet wat ek praat.
Daai selfe bra is gedonder deur 'n 16-year-old laaitie, maar dis 'n moer so swart laaitie wat kan.
Maar hy's getrain. Hy's 'n boksing. Jy moet nie dink omdat jy nou 2 weke se boxing training het, nou kan jy enige fucking ou gaan aanvat en hom bliksem.
Dude, dis is almal wat
kry.
Ja, dis is almal wat horror movies kyk en dan dink hulle, "Oor as die kak kom man, ek gaan uithaal en shit." Ja. Almal dink hulle is Rambo tot die kakkie fan strike, hoor.
Ja, exactly. Hoorie,
Ja.
hoorie. Net so jy praat so van Rambo, 'n bietjie geskiedenis.
Ja, gooi.
Het jy geweet dat Sylvester Stallone
Ja.
was gesê hy moet gaan in die oorlog gaan fight. Ek weet nie wat se oorlog, dit was seker Vietnam of iets of wat ook al.
Ja.
En toe het hy weg gaan kruip deur om Rocky te maak, die movie Rocky, waar hy as 'n soldier
war
was.
hero, ja.
He became a war hero in the movie because he fled to do his national service.
Dude.
Dis
Ironic.
geskiedenis. En weet jy, voordat hy die Rambo movies gedoen het,
Het hy porn gedoen?
Het hy pornografie gedoen.
Hy het freaking porn. Oh, that's so good. Oh, ek kan dit net imagine.
Kyk
Oh
wat sê
my
hy
God.
hoortjie so. Wat die balls het nie size nie en nog 'n ding, 'n kakebeen het nie spiere nie. Ek weet my vriend.
The
Jy's
trap
100%.
switch, baba. Dude,
Of wat
wat
the
'n
glass
lekker
jaw.
hand. The glass jaw, ja, as jy bokser is met 'n glass jaw, gaan jy nie 'n great track.
Oom
mee
Nikkie.
kry nie.
Oom Nikkie, ons gaan vir oom Nikkie op die show kry. Ek gaan oom se
Respect.
nommer by Warrie kry. Ons gaan oom op die show kry. Kom ons doen dit. Kom ek try dit volgende week doen voor Women's Month. Want Women's
Yes.
Month begin volgende week Vrydag en dan is dit net die
Yes.
chicks op die show. So
Ja.
oom Nikkie, I'll give you a call.
Yes. Dude,
En
Ek
nou
hoop
ons gaan
jy het-
peper kry van Sean af. Ja, bro. Anyways,
ja. Dude,
Luister.
lekker aand.
guys, we had a rocking night with you guys. Chris, sê jou sê ding.
Man, love each other, kyk na mekaar, fucking praat met mekaar, wees lief vir mekaar en ons sien julle ouens môre.
That's it. Have a
Away.
wonderful night.
Be
Cheers.
safe, bye. Well, goodbye everybody from SA Bro.